world's most famous equation, Einstein was nominated for a Nobel Prize, but did not receive it until 11 years later. Albert Einstein became the most influential physicist of the 20th century. His research changed the world. He wrote hundreds of books and was also a great philosopher, so there's so many things to be learned. I have no special talent. I'm only passionately curious, so follow your curiosity.
So, briefly, this is the story for us. This is the story of Einstein, who once was not perceived as anybody, someone who dropped out of school and went through the adventures of life and eventually became one of the most standing academics in the world. Yes, today's presentation, we want to celebrate academics, those that have succeeded and they are in the top notch, they have the names. And we also want to learn what actually pertain in academic environment so that we can overcome some of the barriers and become successful like those gladiators. In the presentation today, I'll take you through an introduction, talks about the art of wasting away, a bit of what is called academic witchcraft, and I know many are here to listen to that, and then the recommendations and conclusions. Academic careers, as the previous speaker was saying, often lead to self-fulfillment and honorific titles and jobs. This is very clear from the presentation of Einstein that we saw. Even though he was not following the laid down structures, he was having some self-fulfillment by conducting his own research in geometry and physics that finally led him to discover something that is unique, and that provided him a lot of honors and then names. So most often, as we find ourselves in academia, we want to succeed and become one of the people like this who have also achieved something that, first of all, bring our own joy up and later then give us honors. And therefore, it's good to remind, as you see the ladders, that you have a very long way to go. Today, it's good to be called a full professor, an emeritus professor, and it's not given free. It's not given free. It demands a lot of work. The attention I would like to draw here is that even though the procedure may say, okay, assistant lecturer, do 2 years and get a PhD, lecturer, get 4 years and this and become senior lecturer, it is not as simple as the documents are saying. There are a lot more factors that are not directly, stated in those documents. And also, it is not also a game to play and just write something and get there, but it's also an activity to undertake to fulfill or to bring something to light. So there should be innovation. There should be light at the end of the tunnel, like the way Einstein came out finally with the theory of relativity. So academic careers is always driven by the sense of high attainment and self-fulfillment. These are the two things. You want to attain high, you want to be known for doing this and doing that, and again, for your own self-fulfillment. Even though I mentioned Einstein, it pleases me to show you Majid Sami. This is the world-famous Iranian medical scientist who has been named by the World Academy of Neurological Surgery as the world's first neurosurgeon. And this guy received a very great title, and that was the Golden Neuron Award in 2014. Is that not great? Is that not as something to be happy about, to be proud of oneself? Yes. Again, look at our own Professor Francis Allotte. He was also known for his Allotte formalism, that is which arose from his work on soft X-ray spectroscopy. He was the 1973 recipient of the UK Prince Philip Golden Award for his work in this area. These are names. These are people we want to imitate. These are people you want to mimic. You want to become somebody, not just call a professor in this and that, but success in this area is defined by what you have achieved for your own self-fulfillment, and also for the others that follow. And I think we can go on with many examples. And as far as you find yourself in the academic sector, this cannot be different from your objectives. Otherwise, you are not supposed to be here. You must attain the highest. And this is samples of people who are there. Many academic successes exist, but attaining the apex is often a challenge due to many barriers. I said it already, and this is why this presentation, to show us the traps, the shortfalls to overcome, and the attitude to overcome them, so that one can get there, because there are many, and most of them are actually not documented. So what are the top barriers and how to overcome them? And this is why I'm here to share a few thoughts with you today. Now, I'll summarize them by raising 5 points, categorized in two. The first one will talk of the art of wasting away, and then the second one will talk of the academic, witchcraft. 6 points goes under the art of wasting away, and 4 other points goes under the art of the academic witchcraft. And I will deal with this point, and then we'll open the floor for debate and discussion. Now, talking about the art of wasting away, if I will not even waste my time, what does it mean to say wasting away? Actually, it is not too good word, because it's synonymous in bracket to sickness, to become thinner and weaker, usually because of illness. If you go by the true and the direct sense of the word, this is what it means. But when you bring this back to academia, even to support this, the term means to gradually get thinner and weaker in a way that is unhealthy. So this happened again in academia. Successful academic staff are people who have a lot on the table. They have this conference here. They are running this project on the other hand. They have a lot of students to supervise. They have PhD school calling them. They have master students here. They have a lot on the table. They have to travel here tomorrow. The next day they have to go here. And that is what makes them proud, because of the fruit and the benefit of their brain work. But when you start wasting away, it means that you becoming gradually thinner and weaker, as the term is saying, meaning that you lose everything. You lose everything to become just, sorry to say, empty. And that is really, really unfortunate when it happens. If you continue to dwindle towards a state of nothingness or complete decrepitude, or to whiter away, then again, you are talking of wasting away. And that happens when we become, impotent. We don't produce fruit. We don't produce benefit. A good academic must produce, report, must produce article, must produce so many different things that make the work, what it is. But if you are in a situation where you can't produce, you don't produce papers, you don't grow, you are at the same level for so long, you don't attract grants, you don't go in conferences, your name is not known anywhere, then you find yourself under this category of people we call wasting away. This happened to most academics. And that's the unfortunate thing. It's not something that happened to one person or just, but you see, the reason of this discussion is that it's been observed that majority of the academics end up like this. And miserably, we end in our retiring age, even not qualified to even coming back to do one or two things, because you could not really enjoy the fruit and the benefit of what the academic career was meant for. We must all together avoid this. And I think that one of the things to avoid this is to break the barrier with information. Let us know what is required from us, how we can overcome some of the challenges, and I think we can do better. So I'll pick this out of wasting away in 6 different points. The first point I would like to touch on has to do with seminars, workshops, and conferences. As you see in this diagram, seminars are fundamental. Many academics think that it is optional to attend seminars, but more often it is not. It's more than mandatory. Majority of the things that progresses are mandatory in nature, but the documents are never saying they are mandatory. They are saying they are free. I just want to remind you, it is only through conferences that you can start You can start nurturing, some good relationship with academics in your area. Why do you want to leave yourself in the confinement of your institution? As an academic, you should be able to collaborate. We speak one language. Physics, geometry, mathematics, and all are all the same language, whether you find yourself in the United States or in Ghana or in France or wherever. So if you speak that language and you speak it clearly, nothing should stop you to collaborate with people wherever they find themselves across the globe. And one thing that provides this linkage is conferences, attendance into conferences. Conferences are not per se for the direct meaning of presenting papers or listening to others' papers, which is also very important and fundamental, but they also provide that social network to discover better relationship. And it's out of the relationship that many things flourish. So therefore, when seeking for a conference, seek for a standard conference. Don't seek for a local conference just to put on your paper that you have attended a conference when actually you do not gain any benefit for attending such a conference. Attend standard conference in your area. Try big, dream big. That is where you meet big professors. That is where you meet people who have grants. That is where you meet people who have a lot of funds at hand. I remember a conference I've attended, and after I made a presentation, then one of the industry players came with a problem that was relating to what I presented and decided that we should collaborate to see whether we can solve. And the next day, he give you an invitation to travel to their country. They buy ticket, everything free for you, to diagnose the problem and solve them with them. This is exactly why you need not to shut down the issue of conference in your progress as an academics. So if today you cannot go face-to-face, remember you can also rely on the hybrid mode or the online system. The problem we face with academics today is that tell them go to conference, they will tell you your institution is not providing enough money for them to go. When they apply, they don't get the money. Fine. The institution has a responsibility to provide money, and they cannot provide for all. That's the reality we should understand. And the institution is not necessarily responsible for our progress. We have a goal to attain of self-fulfillment in the first place. And secondly, now, we also grow the university and others. So if the university say no, and we too, we shut it down, then we have affected not only ourselves, but the university as well. We should be able to overlook at the university fund sometimes and seek other grants or rely on our own planning to be able to attend at least some of these conferences. And the standard is twice in a year. As an academic, you must make it compulsory for yourself that at least I must attend an international conference in my area of standard nature, and at least once or twice. If you have to take me outside the country, then I have to plan appropriately, counting first on my own capabilities. If the university one or other grants comes into play, then we thank God. The mentorship, which is the second pillars we shall discuss under the art of wasting away. This points to the fact that no one grows without mentors. In fact, it's too difficult to grow, especially in the academic area, when you have nobody to mentor you. Even what I'm doing as a presentation now is a form of mentorship to provide some key information that might be necessary to some or others. Mentorship actually provides an unqualified opportunity to learn a lot and to avoid many mistakes. Others have done the mistakes already. Do you want to repeat them? Learn from them and avoid repeating this before learning. Do not waste all opportunity to grasp a good mentor, one that can lift you up. And those mentors are found in those international relationships. You have to go beyond your boundaries. That is where you meet people in your area who are bigger than you, and you try to align yourself with them and learn from them and also work with them. How a mentor led me to begin research is an example I wanted to share. When I'll make it very brief. When I entered academic environment, I hadn't published for the first time, but I became very anxious after listening to a couple of presentations that there was a need to write papers. And I began to wonder, what does that mean to write a paper? I wasn't taught to write a paper until I finished my master's degree. So I got one person, I reserve the name for now, who was a very close friend, but yet has studied abroad in China, and had a PhD at that time and had made a couple of publications already. And I joined him and we started nurturing some ideas on something new. He found my motivation very high. He kept giving me some field work to do. And I followed him throughout until for the first time, we put together a first paper. We went to a conference and presented, and he received a lot of consideration. It was really welcome. And that boosted my vim and motivation, to continue that way. Mentorship is needed. If somebody does not lead you into, something, it's difficult to grasp it just yourself. It's more or less like a society in which there are secrets that somebody has to reveal to you. Otherwise, there are people who have spent more than 20 years and even try to publish on their own, doing good work, publishing it in very bad journal and gaining no name until people decide to now recognize those who are published, and then all their publications were not even rated. This is what you lose when you lose mentorship at the beginning. Some of the little things you do can land in very good journal if you have a good mentor to take you on. And that's why I have this graph. Look, don't walk alone, don't climb the ladder alone. Go with a mentor. Let somebody ride a bicycle for some time. Accept sometime to be at the back. Accept to be led for some times. And yet, the best is yet to come. I'll move on to pillar 3, talking about art of wasting away, collaborative research opportunities. More often, what you see in academia is that very new people or young people to academia are very selfish. I must be frank. They feel they are very smart, genius, excellent, thinking to the best, the uppers. There are people who are gurus. I do not deny that. And therefore, when they find themselves in the academic environment, they actually nurture competition rather than collaborative research. I must be better than my colleague. I must do this to overtake him. I will not work with him. No, discourage such behaviors and thinking, because experience shows that they do not make you grow faster as you are supposed to be. You may suffer and produce the most genius paper in 1 month, but there is another person who can equally do same. If you come together, perhaps you have 2 papers each. So we might be genius, we must be intelligent, we must be excellent, but collaborative research is often more appreciated because it provides quicker growth opportunities and many advantages, and therefore should be highly encouraged. You need to identify peers in your area. What is wrong is to form this group on a wrong basis. He's my friend, he smile well, so I will put him on my paper. No. You work with people who are mostly, look at your own capability. Where are you strong? Are you going to write papers in this area and that area? Then identify people who can equally write in the same areas. This is what progresses you. Because if you are in marketing and then you are associating with an engineer, perhaps you may come with innovative paper, I don't know, but generally, engineering papers will not come for a marketing person, and the marketing paper might not necessarily come for an engineer. So you still be together working collaboratively, but you are not growing. The opportunities that come his way, you cannot benefit because you are not in the same area. You need to pick somebody who belongs to your line of programming, your line of action, and then together you put your head together as the picture shows, and then you grow faster. You have chances to meet them in conferences because who do you get? It's not necessarily in this arena, as we are talking of a neighbor, a colleague, or somebody to work with to bring papers. We are not necessarily talking about somebody who is in your same department, but if he's in your department, you have the same skill and specialties, why not? But we are talking of global citizen. You can have a friend in US, you can have a friend in KNUST, you can have a friend anywhere, in Ghana, Africa, Europe, mentioned, provided the person actually writes like you, write in the same area, and you can link up well. So for that, you can meet people like this in conferences, and that is why you must not neglect the impact of conferences in the line of progression of academics. The art of wasting, pillar 4. I hope I'm not going too fast. If I'm going too fast, you can prompt me. The art of wasting, pillar 4. Not taking risks to apply for grants and other opportunities. I just mentioned that what makes academics great is the fact that there is a lot of food on the table. Academics don't beg for positions because they have food on the table. If you get to that arena, you can always get food on the table, meaning that there is a grant you must meet, there is this, there is that, there is always something occupying you. So not taking risks to apply for grant, another opportunity, is another challenge, and I don't know what we shall say to overcome that barrier. Because a lot of people believe it's not their portion. That thing, it's too something. It's not their portion. Meanwhile, these grants are not special. They are not even as difficult sometimes as it is to write a serious academic paper. The rigor demanded to write academic paper is lesser than that required to just put in a grant. A grant is mostly based on relationship. They are based on few information, critical due diligence, and then information gathered in time, and what have you. So, grant often appears like mites in the ears of young academics, and that should not be. Let's know that the basis of successful grant are successful relationship. There is a grant in the European Union. You need to partner with 2 institutions abroad and 3 at home, and you don't have the relationship. You know nobody outside. How do you apply for this grant? There are so much money sleeping in the European Commission Union here for grant of partnership and mentorship between institutions in the Europe and Africa, and we do not apply. The proof is that the money comes and it goes back in the coffers and comes back, and we don't apply simply because we don't have what it takes to apply. Are we in the position to apply? Have you positioned yourself such that you cannot rely on a collaboration with an institution abroad or institutions within? There are MOUs that entice you together that you can leverage on now to put in an application for a grant. No. So when you do things like this and you position yourself well, do not underrate your capabilities. Position yourself to get grant information. Because grant information, when you sleep in our corners of the world, sorry to say, you hardly get any valuable information about grant. Because first of all, there are no many grant organisms in our part of the world that actually supply opportunities for grants. Apart from Confinement, that made some very generic one recently, that's the Skill Development Fund. Majority of the grants are not based in the country. You have to source them from outside, and for that matter, you need collaboration. So if you want to win grants, the first thing is to position yourself very well in collaboration with some of these institutions and have some MOUs first, and then now you can leverage on them. Please make a trial. You need to grow in all these dimensions. So the art of wasting away, pillar 5, improper time management and unnecessary stress. This is a killer. Often by negligence, we don't manage our time well. And I think this statement, 24 hours is just too small for a day. Oh my goodness, 24 hours is just too small for a day, but God cannot extend it anymore. It's 24 hours, 7 days for a week. And that is it. You have to manage it properly so that within these 24 hours, you can always pick 2 hours quiet time. And I always do that, either for between 2 or 3 days, or 1 day if you become very used to it. What I mean is that, what do you do when you wake up in the morning to the evening? Can you plan your day so that if not today, at least tomorrow, within 2 days, you can always save some 2 hours that is purely and sincerely devoted to this academic work, either working on a paper, either setting a grant opportunity, either preparing for a conference, either sourcing for fund here and there, something that grows your academic life. Could you spare 2 hours within 2 or 3 days for that? The fact is that if you don't do that, it demands a very conscious effort. I mean, if you are just raw, you might never do that. But if you consciously put it to practice, you can save these 2 hours or 3 hours. And I tell you, the benefit is great. When you start doing that and it becomes a habit, it gives you a strength, a weapon. In actual fact, it's a weapon. It gives you energy to do so many things that you might thought were impossible, but now have become very possible. So consider this as a great advice. Now, let's talk about stress. Stress management goes hand in hand with time management. As an academic, you should realize that you use your brain more than anything. And if you don't carefully manage your brain, you can damage it, or it can take you away from whatever is necessary. Look at the picture in the corner here. This guy, the phone will not stop ringing. Some people have their phone on the ears 24 hours a day, and they don't have quiet time. They can receive call at midnight, at 2 a.m. No, when you have your quiet time, stop using phone for the 2 hours. Put it off and put it on later, and concentrate only on your academic work for just 2 hours within 3 days. Have you already conducted a retrospective analysis of your time management to identify unnecessary but time-consuming activities? Because they are there. The distraction is higher than anything. And if you are not careful, you may consume a lot of time, doing what is not necessary for your growth, and never sparing a few time to deal with what is actually useful. You need to plan your time, and you need to be careful the level of stress you are taking. That can lead to health issues. Then the final pillar for wasting away is the lack of awareness of regulatory document and academic procedure. And I'm glad Dr. Florence Blocky mentioned part of this in her introductory speech. She did mention that people have been here for more than 8 years and never have they even known the procedure for applying for promotion. Who is going to cheat it? Is it me? No. The documents are there. Don't stay in the academic world and wait to be informed. That is the first way of losing all opportunities. If you are not satisfied, get to your mentor to discuss details of this document with you. What do you know about the Act 92 that transformed the Polytechnic into Technical University and its modified version 974? Do you have the statute of the university? Do you have the guiding statute of all technical university? Are you aware of the scheme of service? Do you know about the condition of service for senior members that give you right to do this and do that? Do you know your privileges? These are all enshrined in this document. Are you aware of the working document for promotion, which details how promotion should be handled? At what point you can submit? When you submit, how many days? It must be processed at the level of a head of department. And where will it go next? The dean to organize a faculty meeting on it? How long will it take? Then the registry to send it to reviewers, and then reminders to be sent in time and all this. If you don't know the process and you are loose, that is how come you can put in an application and later complain that after 1 year something you didn't hear anything. But you also did not do anything to follow up. You didn't even know what should be done so that you can question somebody when that is not done. That is a problem. So you need to be aware of the document. Are you aware of the procedures for promotion? If not, please go and read this document very well. All these documents are available. In the university website and all over. Well, at this point, I have touched on the main 6 pillars that I wanted to discuss under the art of wasting away. And I will carefully move on to the second portion, which I believe is the reason why many are here, the academic witchcraft. It looks as if the word witchcraft is very attractive to many ears in our circumstances. I could realize we have beyond 100 people here right now, and I believe that many want to know why the word witchcraft. What does that mean, especially in the academic area? Yes, this is not something you see in previous literature. I even realized some lecturers were making some comment on it. No, I took my time to explain. This is a concept we brought just gradually to explain some little things. And let's see some few definitions. When you refer to the dictionary, and that's strictly the definition from the dictionary, it says that witchcraft is the use of magic or supernatural powers, usually to cause harm and misfortune to others. The most important thing here is the use of some keyword like magic or powers, and then causing harm or misfortune to others. I take another definition. Well, I didn't bring many, but Let me tell you, there had been a great history of witchcraft. Recently in Bonn, we were told a story of witches that was beheaded. They killed them, they cut their neck because people were just identified as witch. And it was easy to do. It takes 3 or 4 noble persons in the society to confirm that you are a witch, and then you are death sentenced, and then you are killed. European witch hunts and witch trials in the early modern period led to tens of thousands of executions, which means that the lesson here is that though witchcraft involves power, magics, and to cause misfortune and harm for people, it is socially not a pleasing thing. It's not welcome. It's not something people want. People went to the extent of trying to exterminate people who were accused of such things. So the proper definition of witchcraft involves, however, a few identifiers, and I want you to agree with me. If you read a lot of literature, which I didn't bring here, there are networks. People claim witchcraft involves networks where people meet in a very hidden place to take decisions as to how they carry their action to cause harm or misfortune to others. So identifier number 1 is network, often hidden. Also, there is this relationship to magic, to invocation of spirit, to powers that keep coming. That is the second definition I want us to keep a second eye on. A third thing is the negative intention. They say the intention to cause harm or misfortune or to destroy others. And therefore, the fourth one, where I will limit myself, is the targeting ignorance, novices and defenseless people, because often when you read more literatures, the victims of this group of people or this network that we see scientifically just as a network are the destruction of people who seem to be defenseless, novices, ignorant of all the purposes. And I know if you open this in a more Africa-based context, it can lead to other debates. But permit me to stay in this scientific mode and go on with this definition and therefore define the concept I have brought about academic witchcraft. So on this definition and the 4 identifiers, I now permit to define myself the concept of academic witchcraft. What is it? Academic witchcraft should therefore relate to similar practices but in academia. You see? So what are practices that, for instance, may involve these 4 identifiers that we see in academia? So academic witchcraft should therefore relate to similar concepts in academia. When we talk of network, which is the first identifier, it deals with the formation of ad hoc network. And when I mean ad hoc network, it means a network that are formed not on any basis. If you form network of computers, they are all computers. But you form network, maybe a computer and a human being and a dog, you call them ad hoc network, you see? So groups that are not formed based on any criteria per se, but formation of ad hoc network based on unqualified criteria. Sometimes people such network come to be because of politics. We are political people, we believe in this person, so therefore we form a group based on that. Or by religion, which will not be, or by ethnicity, tribalism, favoritism, nepotism, and all these things are mostly silent in nature because people know that you cannot come out and say that, okay, for me to work with you, you have to be in politics. You have to be in my political party. You have to be from my tribe. No, but the person can have it and mean it and act it, but he will not tell you. That brings the silent nature of that network. This is point number 1. Why we can be permitted to define academic witchcraft as a concept, because it's very close to the real definition of it. The second point, where the magic and the powers are involved, we can draw another similarity to that point by the fact that in academia, there are power plays. You cannot challenge the fact that there are power plays. There is the personality challenge. There are some people, you cannot even approach them in the first place. You're a young academic, you want to apply for promotion, but when you look at the face of the HOD, you dare not even bring yourself that you want to apply. There are personality challenges. And all leaders come to be a form of power. You see, your head of department has some powers. He has to provide a recommendation for your application. He may deny you even though you merit it. The dean has to call a faculty meeting. He may deny, he may delay it unnecessarily. Directors and management, everybody, there are power plays. And therefore, this is the second similarity. The negative intention, which is the third similarity, is also there. Is often meant to destroy you, slowing down academic progress. You see, do things to slow down academic progress. You see that this can bring a progress to the university and you manage to pull it down, and then you are happy. To draw institutional, backward, to anything that had attainment to institutional growth falls under these categories of negative intention, destroying opportunities and contributing to retrogressing, institutions. And this comes in many ways. This bad intention, you agree with me, it prevails and is there in the academic area. Then also often targeting ignorant novices and defenseless people. And that one, I want to say the young academic or the young administrator who want to grow, to become a deputy registrar, to become a professor, you have to face this network. It's already there. Don't think it's not there. And don't think so. The book says you should have a PhD and have 2 papers. You bring your PhD and the 2 papers and you can be there 5 years and you are not senior lecturer. Because this, you have not overcome some of these challenges that we are mentioning here. And so therefore, with all respect, this is the reason why the word academic witchcraft. We draw a lot of similarity for the concept of witchcraft. Now we'll tackle them with recommendation based on 4 different pillars, and then we'll close this presentation. Pillar 1, academic witchcraft, pillar 1. What must you do? One way of overcoming some of these challenges, number 1, is the privacy of information. You must protect information. Challenges with colleague and close entourage is very essential. Not all information are good to be released anytime, anyhow, and to anyone. My brother, when they say somebody is wicked, sorry to use the word wicked, don't underrate it. You don't tell just the information that is going to make a significant change in your life or to give you an advantage directly and openly, anyhow, with anyone. At the same time, the person can use that information to destroy you. If somebody sees that you are writing this paper with him to get maybe promotion, then he may even withdraw not to write the paper. If he knows you are capable of writing it alone, he can even steal your data and mess it up so that you never finish the paper. Anything can happen. There are colleagues who reported things snake in their offices, others who went and came back, their data had disappeared. There have been so many stories to illustrate some of these things. And it's first of all because we also did not protect our own information. Your vital information might disappear from your computer. Do you have a backup? Often backup. Most of the time you hear these things, we neglect them until it happens to us. Do you have a service in the cloud where you save very vital information? Do you have a policy to manage your information so that every 2 weeks or every month you go back and back up your data either on a hard disk or in the cloud or wherever? Please think about that. Your computer might disappear. I tell you, it does not disappear only from the office. You know why people steal people can go in, look at all your belongings, they take the computer and they leave everything else. And do you know why they take your computer? Is to often slow you down. You are moving too fast. These papers you are submitting, at least by the time you get back the data to rewrite them, it might take another 1 year. And within that 1 year, they can steal you again. So think about anything can happen. You see? So it is very easy to take things simple and just leave as if there's no problem until things like this start happening to us. So losing information can take you far back. Be responsible for protecting your information. Pillar 2. Pillar 2 on academic witchcraft, we're looking at the weight of ad hoc network, the adventures of promotion. That is where a lot of people face a lot of challenge in this academic institution. Promotion is often a challenge. And quote me well, this is not for my institution I'm talking generally and globally. Even here abroad, the same problems are there in Ghana and many places. Your HOD may recommend your application, your dean and management review your document and appoint review. A lot can happen. A lot can happen. Number 1, Delay tactics. You give the document, and that's why you need to read the regulatory document to know what is in it. It says 7 days or 21 days maximum processing at the HOD's level, and the HOD take his 2 months, he has not told you anything. And when he sees you in front of his face, when you yourself, you see him, because of the face, you also pass and say, good morning, sir. And you continue like this, and you think the promotion will come. The promotion is not just by the work you have done. It's a whole lot of effort to do. Delay tactics. It can get to management. Some people's promotion that's supposed to take 3-6 months. In some other institutions, you hear people having 5 years, 7 years to get the same promotion because there was broken link somewhere. There was no feedback somewhere. There is a need to check, and somebody did not do his part. Reviewers or external assessors can sometimes be difficult. They can be lobbied. Yes, I will say this. I know it's difficult for people to believe this, but it's true. We've often heard this, that yes, you send a document and then some people will publish in transactions. I've witnessed it. What else takes you to have a good paper if not a transaction? IEEE transaction, where the paper is reviewed 5 times. 5 different top reviewers, taking over a years and co. And such paper you send to a reviewer, and then he gladly, useless, nothing to take in this paper. It's just word for word. The reviewer write that. Sometimes it's not usually from a sound mind. Yes, because you are not responsible of selecting who is reviewing your paper. And those selecting them sometimes can lobby them. And they don't do that often, but sometimes too, the person himself can be a hungry lion. You know what is a hungry lion waiting? There are people in the system, when you mention their name, they are known. They are known for their record in doing bad. Sorry to say. Same when it comes to supervisors in the PhD areas, there are different forms of people. People who will collaborate with you, people who try and understand, but there are people who are very difficult and they are in one direction. It's either you do what they think or they like, or you are knock off. Yes, I might not know. Maybe if I don't have a good relationship, I want to show you where power lies. I might not know the person, I might not lobby him, but I know that this person is a dangerous person who have always been rejecting people. So this is the person I nominate for your work. So these are the traps. And sometimes documents are altered. At what level, no one knows. You can never discover it. The documents are altered. That's why when you are preparing the promotion document, you don't rush to do it. Perhaps you may have another session on preparation of promotion document, because you need to number your document very well so that anybody who takes it, a page missing will identify clearly that this page is missing. But you submit a document, you gather it anyhow, there is no numbering, nothing. When somebody picks some few files out of it, how would they know? How would you know that this document actually was not prepared anyhow and that the pages were missing or otherwise? I saw some people's promotion documents in other university, not ATU anyway, where you see that the person submitted like 10 articles. When you take the first article, the first paper is out. The last 2 papers where the result and the discussion are available are also out. So when you take the paper, it starts from the literature, it has no conclusion, it has no discussion. As a reviewer, what can you give? So sometimes let's beware that, yes, we have to submit a defensive document. We have to go through all this and then build something that actually stands the test of time. And then sometimes there is lack of feedback, and you might need to do a lot of follow-up. There are also inconsistent review. Sometimes inconsistent review means that the feedback is very negative for a paper that is absolutely good because published in one of the greatest outfits, or you have a feedback that is very good for a paper that absolutely is not good. The paper is not published in a good journal. It doesn't have a good quality. It's visible. It has visible defect, and the reviewer say is the best. It's good. This paper is the best. So these are the problems we are facing. So, well, it's not easy. Academic Witchcraft Pillar 3. I'm taking a lot of time, and I will be over in the next 2 slides. Academic Witchcraft Pillar 3 that you have to look at. Belonging to wrong groups that encourage laziness, carelessness, and resistance to law can be another form of this witchcrafting. Please look at this picture. Look at the gentleman resisting the police. You see how he opened his eyes and his mouth? He said no. Look at the gentleman and the lady dragging the cable. No understanding. And look at others that are sleeping. Laziness. There are a lot of groups. When you get into the university setup, you must be recruited by one group or the other. There is no way you are not recruited by any group. It's not true. Which group do you belong to? There is a group of people that promote resistance to law. The law say publish 4 papers and get 3 years or maybe 4 years, and you can be promoted to become a senior lecturer. A very good academics usually you see, you are capable, you are a resourceful person. Why do you fight unnecessary fights? 4 papers, 4 years. You just need to know. Then you plan how you do 1 paper each year so that in 4 years you have 4 papers. That is it. But there is this person who, instead of going by that 4 papers, 4 years, he decides to fight the law to bring the paper to 2. It should be 2 papers because he is not ready to write 4. Usually, I'm telling you, this is not the academic mind. When you want to fight things and bring things every time very low so that you can cross them easily, it is usually not the thinking of the academic, because the academics need only to know the setup and he can confront it, he can overcome it. And that is what I wish for all of us. That doesn't mean that when something is wrong, we cannot take it up. But as much as possible, let's be reasonable in our fight, to fight what can be fought, and then to just comply and obey what has to be obeyed. And then we get our way through easily. If people have been promoted with 6 papers, why not me? Am I strange? Are they strange? Do they have double head? I can do same. And that is the spirit we want to encourage. There are groups that take pleasures in slandering, destroying hardworking people, and their target are always hardworking people because already they have cast out their destiny. They sit down, maybe he's like this, his head is not straight, he's not like that, and that is it. Or they take another person, he's like this, he's not like that, he's like. And if you join this group, you realize that you enjoy the talk, and at the end, you don't do anything. And when you finish destroying somebody in the mouth, you cannot follow the person. Meanwhile, this is the person perhaps that can help you, that can lift you to the higher level so that you can also, become like the person. So let's beware not to belong to group that promote some of these things. Group that promote a lot of extra academic activities. I'm careful not to use extracurricular activities because many of the extracurricular activities are also academic activities. For instance, doing sport in the year is an academic activities. I don't know, mention a number of them, SRC weeks and other things. All these are extracurricular. But extra academic activities are things like drinking. If you go and drink alcohol, that does not come under the academic activities. Do you see? Drinking, smoking, and others train you how to now become somebody who will chase female and then how to relax and sleep, like the people sleeping in this picture. Please beware. All these forms another group of witchcrafting. I call it so because it is meant with a negative intention to destroy your progress. Yes, to hinder it and then also to stop you. Pillar 4, we want to talk of attack to your health and personality. This is the most important. Witchcrafting can also lead to this, and often in the academic area. I'm not talking of the witchcrafting of the village where they take you in the spirit and chop your leg or something. No, not that one. But even at the workplace, when you over-increase your workload, it has effect on your health. When you don't manage it properly and you overload yourself with so many things, in no time you have all sorts of diseases. You sit too long, you don't balance with a little spot, and then you overstress yourself, the brain every day, the next day, one disease appears or the other. Feeding and overfeeding with wrong food can lead to health conditions. When you are thinking a lot, you have to eat healthy. Avoid excessive sugar, excessive fat, and what have you, and be very careful about what you are eating. Look, poisoning exists, and it's part of the witchcrafting in academic area. Often and more than enough, I wouldn't want to mention quite a lot of evidences, But I can tell you a lot of people have been victims of poisoning in the academic environment because they mention to their colleague their promotion. Somebody can foresee their line of progression that this person tomorrow will be here. And because I cannot be here, African mentality or some of our mentality sometimes, excuse me to use the word, is that let me pull him down so that he doesn't get there. And they can easily lift some small, slow poison in your food. I don't know where people get it, but they do. And next day you are sick. When you are sick, you are not in the right frame of mind to think. You can't write a paper when you are sick. You cannot be writing a grant when you are sick. Somebody who is sick, you are looking at your health situation and you want to be writing paper that demand a full usage of your brain, extensive and deep usage of your brain, conferences and other things. No, often you must have a free soul, a free spirit to do things like that. Your personality can be damaged. That's the last part. The personality too can be attacked. If you don't get you through your food, your drink, your whatever, we can also damage your personality. We damage it by jeopardizing some small situation and then raising your name in a very bad thing. Imagine we put you in a newspaper chasing a girl or something like this, or selling question paper, malpractice, financial malfeasance. He has stolen money. He sold this book. He's selling this, breach of the procurement process. Why do we allow ourselves sometimes with some little money to destroy our personality? Come and see us chasing sometimes some very petty money, some 2 cedis or 10 cedis, and that can lead you far. Leave it. Your personality has more value sometimes than every little thing you are claiming. So sometimes if it's not too good, you leave it because you have a bigger target. You are focused. Don't let this small thing damage your image even before you get there. Sometimes for we managers, they can attack us easily. We breach to procurement process. All this, he didn't buy it well. Let us be very careful. Not all rights should be claimed. Not all money should be pursued. Your image or personality is bigger than them. And please be wise. Piece of advice to end this presentation, we need to be focused and hardworking. That is fundamental. If you don't have these two things, you cannot engage in the career. You need to be focused. You need to become like Einstein. You need to become like Professor Alote. You need to become like that professor, the neurosurgeon. So you need to be focused and work hard. Believe in work. Don't grow because of other relationship or other attributes. Grow based on your hard work. That is what is sustainable. Know the existing regulatory document and master them. Be smart and clever. Unless you are attentive, the traps are many and you can easily fall in them. There are so many. I couldn't reveal all. Some are even difficult to mention. Don't seek undue advantages because it often plays you back. Grow on the basis of hard work done, and that you build a good foundation. You work hard to merit everything. Do not be quiet. Do not be too defensive neither. If you are too quiet, they will abuse you. If you are too defensive, they will say you are disrespectful and disobedient. You are not correct, and they will accuse you of all work. But be active. Be active. Be inquisitive. Ask questions. My document, I submitted it. The document said 10 days. This is 17 days. May I know what has happened to it? Just ask. Twice, third time, they will find a solution because your question is already embarrassing. Don't overreact, but follow up on some of these and you will get some way to manage them. Manage your time well and balance your diet and sports and other style of activities. Do not waste good opportunity with mentors to apply for conferences and grants. And I think the future is ours. Thank you very much for listening. This ends my presentation. Thank you. Hello, are you there?
Prof, we are here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for taking us through this topic. I have learned a lot notes, and then from the comments I've been reading, it's like I'm speaking to the issues. God bless you. We now call on Mr. Ajiman Dakun to take us through the question and answers session. Yes, the discussion. Mr. Ajiman Dakun. Hello. Mr. Ajmanyako from AAU. Okay, please, the floor is open for question and answers and then contributions as well. Okay.
Okay, so I think some people have raised their hand, so I don't know if who is in control. I can see a few of them raising hands, so they need to be given the floor to speak. Otherwise, they can't.
Let me step in for Mr. Ajaman.
Okay.
2 hands are raised, and Emmanuel Entry, please, if you are there, kindly unmute yourself and then ask your question.
I think they cannot unmute themselves unless you do it. The administrator does it or something.
Okay. Administrator, but if you are there, kindly unmute them and then. Yes, right. Mr. Ajaman, please, you have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof.
You are welcome.
For your presentation. I want to start unmuting participants who would like to contribute to your presentation, also the insights shared so far. We've seen a couple of hands raised from Emmanuel Entry. Emmanuel, your mic is on mute. So all right. If you can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. Prof, I'm really much.
Your voice is not coming well.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, can you please amplify, Emmanuel?
I'm grateful for this opportunity and then the presentation that you have given to us this morning. It's very educative. But my question is, as a researcher, if you know that your paper is very good and then it keeps on getting bounced, what do you do to circumvent such a problem? Thank you.
Okay. Should I address it? Should I address the question?
Prof, please go ahead.
Yes, I think your question is right. Normally, when your paper is good, if you get bounced many times, but it may eventually get bounced if you get in the wrong hand, like I was saying. So the only thing is that you have to resend the papers. There is nothing you can do about somebody who prepare his mind not to do the right thing. So the papers have to be resent. And I don't think if the papers are good, they'll get the same bouncing more than 2 or 3 times. So that's the only way. You have to resend and resend and resend and resend. So that's why sometimes when we are in the promotion process, when a reviewer brings back your document and there are divergent views, then we send to a third reviewer to still look at it so that we know who is telling it.
Where is?
I hope I've addressed your question to some extent. There are more hands.
Okay, so let's hear from Antonia Donko. Antonia, you can unmute now.
Obed.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, I hope you can hear me.
Very well.
Good morning, this is Antonia, and thank you very much, Prof. I have enjoyed your presentation, though I think I joined in a little late.
Yeah.
And of a truth, you have just stopped me from sending an email. I was going to send an email, but because of what you were sharing, yes, I have just stopped and I have decided to ask
okay.
about the best way to go about it. Let's say you join a meeting with your colleagues and you share an idea. An idea you, let's say, expect that probably would form a committee and all work on. And then you just wake up one night and one person has taken up the idea and is trying to carry it on as if he or she brought up that idea. In this situation, How do you handle it? What do you do? Because he said we shouldn't fight too much.
No.
Some things. So that's why I just stopped my mail. I was in the middle of sending a mail. I just
you see, first of all, the mistake is that you avail that information at the wrong platform. Usually, such information that are constructive and unique in nature should be availed where it can be productive to you. So to the right person that can actually help you with their idea to come up. But if you just mention your idea of research, it can be stolen. And when it's stolen now, the thing is, when you take it up, how do you prove that you are the first innovator or the one who has the idea first? That becomes a challenge. That's why sometimes it's better you even claim the ownership and then establish the ownership before you now inform others to work with. But if that is not done and the person pick it up, it's very difficult now to claim the ownership. The only thing I would advise is that you have to collaborate. Because if truly the person is stealing the idea for you, he will not resist a collaboration from you because he might not see all the dimension of the idea. So you still want to lean on your support so that together you can now build it. And you also have to accept that, because if you don't accept it now, you fight and you cannot justify why you should be the sole owner of the idea. You didn't establish that ownership at the first stage. So that is how it becomes when information gets into the public at the wrong time. So try and collaborate with the person and work together on this for now. And subsequently, just be careful how you go about it.
Very much.
So,
Antonia, let's now go to Felix. Felix, you're on mute now. So please go ahead with your question.
Good morning to everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Prof, this is a very wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
As you kept on speaking, I joined late, but at the point that I joined and I was listening to you, it just looked like you were reading about the issues around my environment. I would have said you are a prophet.
I beg you, I'm not.
Yes. So, but I took note of the caution that you gave, you talked about as even there are subtle ways of maybe somebody can, in an attempt to prevent you from rising faster, can even take.
We can't hear you again.
The problem is actually harder-headed. Now you have, even after you have published your papers, you got the minimum requirement. You apply your application, somebody has to process it. At that level, they begin introducing new and very vague, procedures that you don't even understand. So your whole progress in academia is governed by who says what, not necessarily what is a laid down procedure. And perhaps I'm sure that you are aware about this thing about what they said academia is a jungle. I don't know whether that is actually an expression of that jungle life that you witness all these things.
Yes, it's
so. Yes, so where you have management, the university management that is supposed to process your promotion, and they decide to begin to introduce new guidelines, at every point they keep introducing all kinds of things and, saying papers that used to be, some journals that used to be seen as very good, suddenly they say don't publish in those journals, and all kinds of things. Very frustrating. The point I can take that will guide me is just to work and be careful of those who up there might just put bricks and make sure that you are actually hanging there. Yes, if you stay alive and you take the cautions that you have given us, I am sure that in the end, I believe that destiny can only be delayed, but it cannot be blocked.
Amen.
Yeah, you get there, but you get there through after suffering. And I think that it's good for us to take your caution that we have to be careful. Nobody takes our life. That one, once you are alive, there's always hope that you can go beyond those temporary barriers. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Felix. Let's now bring on board Benedicta. So, Benedicta, you can unmute yourself and then you can ask your question. Thank you.
Prof, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. We are a group of about 3 people using the same PC, so it's the female's name that has appeared.
That's fine.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
You are welcome.
Prof, my question is, those of us, the young researchers who are working under the famous ones in the research environment already, we give our efforts. I mean, we do everything to make sure that these people are always on board. That is to say that we are the grassroots people who work for these very people who are famous in the environment.
Yes.
However, they publish papers without putting our names, and you know, because of where we are coming from and we are learning under them, we are not able to come out as expected of us.
Yes.
Prof, what advice would you give to such researchers?
That's a very good question. You have asked a very good question, and I will tell you. You see, if you have a mentor that uses you all the time and doesn't put your name somewhere on the papers, then I can tell you that this is not too helpful to you. The process is that you are mentored to become like them. But if in the process you realize that you are only being used and you are not going to be given the opportunity to grow, then there has to be a threshold. There has to be a point where you have to take off and seek for either a better mentor or grow by your own wings, because there you have the capability. After serving them, you cannot stop it at the initial stage. You need to serve, you need to be used more. But that gives you the experience. You see, be focused, especially when your name is not put on the paper, on how the paper is rated, so that when you find yourself alone, you can write one. The whole thing is that you must get there. So if you have a bad mentor, he can even educate you better than a good one. Because sometimes I realize that when you put people's name on the paper, then the people they cease all effort. And the little they do is what they do continually. Meanwhile, when your name is not there, you know already that you have to win yourself out of this. You can't stay in it permanently. So you have to learn meticulously all the process and how the papers are written. And even made an attempt sometime to surprise them with one that they will guide you. And after you reach a certain maturity, win yourself. Please, you have the freedom to win yourself out of them and join other group that can progress you. But don't stay there forever when you know that you have no opportunity to get on the papers. This is all I need to inform you about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And Victor, do we have more questions from your end?
No, that's okay. Okay.
All right, so I'll move to Beauty. Beauty, are you ready?
Yes, please.
All right,
yes,
go ahead.
I want to use this opportunity to thank Prof for a wonderful presentation. I really love it, and I've enjoyed every bit of it from start to finish.
Thank you.
My question is, if I have maybe my HOD or somebody who is my dean, and I have a paper, and that person did not contribute to that paper, and I have to publish it, is it because the person is my HOD? Is it compulsory to put the person's name on my paper?
No. The straight answer is no. Meanwhile, there is another answer. Let me get clear. You have no obligation as a researcher to put a head of department or a dean on your paper. That hierarchy doesn't come in the research one. You see, professionally, no. It is who contributes to your paper that become a co-author. Now, the bad is that, remember, we are talking of a topic that is a bit, how do I say it? The nature of the topic itself is called academic witchcraft. Is that okay? What happened is that I am your head of department. Assuming I am your head of department, maybe I'm not able to write well, and I have only 2 or 3 papers. I need to grow with 1 more paper. You are staff, okay? You are staff, and we perhaps have the same areas of knowledge, and you write more than me.
Yeah,
I know for sure that if you continue at the pace you are writing, you are going to overtake me very soon, and you can even be a challenger. So you continue writing, and you take me out all the time. But am I an enemy for you? Sometimes, remember, I have a power to play. I have to sign your document and recommend them. I have to appoint reviewers. I have to forward it. So when you also play completely not associating me in any of your research, meanwhile we are in the same areas of research, then I'll also be reserved when your document can, whatever I can do to delay it or to play it, I can do. You see, we are talking of human being. It's a matter of heart. So as far as you are in the same department and there's no controversy, there's no challenge, at least once in a while it's advisable to come together and do something. But nobody has the power to just jump onto your paper when he has not contributed. That is out. I hope you understand.
Yes, Prof. My second question, Prof.
Yes, please come.
Can I also join online workshop and it will be accepted if I have a certificate of being online with the workshop from start to finish?
Yes, now yes. Everything is gone online. So if you attend an online workshop, it's acceptable. But the point is that you need to attend a standard online workshop. Standard means that it must have a good standing in your area. And the benefit of a workshop is not just the certificate you get and you present. That is the least benefit of it. But the greater benefit is who you have come into contact with and how do you socialize with them and what opportunity is there that you are now grasping because you have socialized with these people in this workshop. It's in the workshop we get the big professors that have the funds that they are running and they have other opportunities. So sometimes the online thing does not permit, that aspect where we become friends and then we get opportunity to do other things. And that is why, as far as you have the opportunity to have the workshop face-to-face, it's preferable to me than to have it online, because how much time will you get from one of these key people online? You can only see the platform and the presentation and then it's over there. And later you have a certificate, which we will accept anyway. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's now invite Mr. Benego Qualite from the AAU. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Prof, for the presentation. It was wonderful. I missed half of it because I kept moving out to other meetings to see what was going on.
Sorry.
But since it was recorded, I would play everything and I would really enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
There are two things I just wanted to add to some of the things that you pointed out about owing the work at the time of submission. That's one of the areas that we want to promote the use of the institutional repository. When they can have a collection for preprints, then when you finish your work, before you even submit and you submit to your institutional repository, there will be a digital timestamp that will align you to the work. So that beyond that point, anyone who tries to steal your ideas, you can always go back to the institutional repository to retrieve that record with a timestamp on it to prove that you were the first person who submitted that work. And then nobody can take it from you. So the librarians who are here and the researchers, they should make use of their librarians. The librarians must make sure that when somebody prepares a paper, they do a first submission on their institutional repository. Because now then you become known on the internet, even on the internet, that you are the one who has that idea first and has published it. Yes. That's a way to save you from any other person who tries to steal your work from you. It might not be even within your institution. You might send it to a publisher who will try to come back and tell you your paper is too dilute. And before you realize, somebody else is publishing the same paper.
You are right. It does happen.
So the first point of call, please, is always to go to your institutional repository. For those institutions that do not have one, please set up one. Create a collection for preprints. And then when the paper is finally published, you can take it off the preprints and put it where the published papers are. Yeah. That is easy to do. Then the second one I also want to draw attention to is, again, the librarians. They must be made use of. You must make use of information professionals. Please contact them, because there are other publishing houses that would be available that you could make use of to get your work published. So go to your librarian and ask them to give you other publishers. There's a whole lot of them and the Shepherd Romeo site that is out there. they give you a list of all the publishers, those who allow you, those they call the green publishers, the yellow publishers, the blue publishers, and all of them who have different restrictions. They can have all that list. It's online. Then you go through with them. You will see those that are also in the scopus and all the other things that we want to talk about.
Yes, yes.
So the librarians here, please, you people must also begin to sit up and go out and reach out to your faculty members and help them find publishing houses that will support the work they are doing. So that is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks for the contribution. Thanks a lot. These are great contributions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benego. I will now move to Ekua Man. Ekua, you are welcome, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Prof.
Yes.
Thank you so much for, yes, thank you very much for a very good presentation. This is timely for us. I believe some of us are new. I'm a new staff from the marketing department.
Okay.
So really, this is really
this is very important for you.
Yes, please. I have a question. You made mention of the groups that we shouldn't associate with, the wrong groups that we shouldn't, as much as possible, part of. I was waiting to hear the characteristics of some of the good groups that we can belong to. Because sometimes you realize that a group might appear to be very good, and at the end of the day, you go into it or you join it and you realize that it's all about, bashing people, talking about people, and just simply demotivating people. And, expecting, especially the new ones, to just follow the status quo and not really do anything different. Can you give us some of the characteristics of a good group, some of the good groups that we can belong to? That's the first question. And the second one is, in the presentation, you talked about keeping our health in order. So I am just suggesting that maybe in subsequent ones, we can also work with a doctor, a health practitioner, to really come and tell us about the food that we have to eat to be able to keep up. Because these professors who made it, they lived long. And I really
we die fast.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, so I really want to know what they did in terms of the food they were eating, the kind of exercises they were doing, and all that. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. For the question regarding the group, which group you should belong, or the characteristics of the good group, is a very delicate question because it's difficult to now say which group is good. The point is that you should be motivated by a group that is actually targeting a positive end. The negative end can easily be identified. You mentioned some of them. The positive end in our case relate to good work. You have a group of people who can sometimes think about writing a paper, who are planning to attend a conference, who are planning to apply for a grant, who are discussing matters that are relevant to their academic growth. Such groups usually are not large. They are not large. They can be 2 or 3 people in your department, and you have to really identify them and then try to work with them. So it's not that easy. But this doesn't also mean that, look, the wrong group are large. There are many on campus, but we are not saying you should just do completely away with them, but don't patronize them. Because you see, when you reject them, they will reject you. And when they reject you, I tell you, whatever you do, they can become a bigger weight than even the normal administration and the rest. So you have to be part, but you don't cherish that too much. That if it's a group that exists, you are a staff. You have to be part, but you don't waste your time dealing with negative, things, because that will not progress you and it will not also help you to go far. So I think with this, you can try and start looking at who can help you. 1 or 2 people who are in your area, researching, seeking other collaboration to grow the academic life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's now hear from Janet. Janet, You can tell us, you can ask a question now. Hello, Janet.
Hello.
Janet.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Bro, for your presentation.
You are welcome.
Please, my question is, if you have a good paper and you publish in a predatory journal or knowing, please, can it be a reason for the rejection of your paper, maybe when it's submitted?
Unfortunately, sometimes yes. Because why? Let me explain. In actual fact, reviewers are overburdened and they are not well paid. If you have come to the top, you will realize that as I'm here, we review for many universities. There is, sorry to say, there's a university that sends you somebody whose papers are going to be reviewed to the rank of associate professor. The person has submitted 20 different papers and the university wants to pay you 800 Ghana cedis or something. I'm just making a case. Meanwhile, some people go in one meeting and they get 800. And you want to sit down, you have to take each of the paper, read it thoroughly and write a summary of each of the paper and give it a mark and do that 20 times to end a minor something. So because of that, sometimes, you see, the mind of the person reviewing is such that he cannot give it full concentration like that. So he establishes for himself criteria for quick identification of good and bad papers. So one of those criteria is the journal first. So when you say this paper, he's less concerned about the title and your contribution and how you wrote the paper than what body is carrying the paper. So he's going to search that. When he searches and he sees that this is a big journal, then that is where the attention comes to even read the detail and write what the paper is doing. And I'm not lying to you, we do that a lot. So when you search and rather the paper, the journal is not good. Oh my goodness. When the journal is not good, you just have to write some funny comment and go. Because you cannot waste all your energy in that. And so majority of the papers not published in good journal, when they fall in a good reviewer's hand, they don't also get a good grade. They don't. Even though the paper might be good, we do recognize that. So that is how challenging it is. So therefore, we need to always try and drop it somewhere that is better. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, please, Prof. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Prof, thank you very much for the answers thus far, but we also have some comments.
Okay.
Members, I want to kindly read to your hearing so you can respond to them if
okay.
Mind, sure. So this is from Dr. Evelyn Bento, who says that, please, what do you do when a colleague of yours lies about you to your boss? What do you do?
Okay. That's delicate. It's part of the witchcraft. That's what we call slandering and others. I told people, and I'll say it again, the best way to deal with slanderers is, first of all, ignorance. You have to ignore, because trying to respond to a fool, you tend to look like a fool. And they can't establish the truth by your word of mouth. So let truth be established by your output. They can lie about you to your boss, but if you deliver well, then your output will testify differently. But trying to overcome the tongue of a slanderer is not the best way to go about dealing with it. Ignore them and do your work diligently and preserve and protect your information. Because a slanderer needs information to lie. You see, not all lie can be told. You can't. If you go and lie to my boss that me and maybe I'm smoking, he will not believe you. He knows I don't smoke. You see, but perhaps if you go and tell him something that he knows I can do, then he can doubt that I've done it. So it's the information you yourself you are sharing with the people that lead to the slandering and the lies about you. So start protecting your information a little bit so that people don't get room to say anything about you anyhow in the first place. And make sure now you deliver on point well. And that will testify with time. Do not bother at all to go and go the slandering way. Do not bother. With time, it gets well established. This is all I can say to that.
Great. Thank you very much, Prof. I would want to just acknowledge some of the
with pleasure
amazing presentation. Thank you very much. Mr. Asking for the recordings. Yes, the recordings will be edited and also made available to you all. But you would have to share your email address with us in the comment section or in the chat. So if you want a copy of the recordings, you can share with us your email address. We'll copy them all and then we'll make sure you have copies of the videos after it's been edited. Thank you. Anthony, as I said, the witch in your life has been identified, Abi. Thank you very much, Prof, and the deliverance. Eddie Mena says, Prof, I'm so inspired by our humility. Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
You are welcome.
And more. So let's see more of your email addresses coming in. We'll collate everything and then make sure that after we share links of it with you on YouTube for you to have a share of them. Over to you, our moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajimandaku. Now I'll call on Dr. Florence Pluckett to introduce some of the dignitaries that we have online.
Prof, before I do the introduction, Prof, thank you so much for this, your wonderful presentation.
You are welcome.
As somebody say, our wish has been identified. And then I believe that with this, I mean, we are well informed and we know what to do in terms of our career progression. Let me acknowledge Dr. Felix Longe, the UTAC president of UDS.
Okay.
Doc, you are welcome. Dr. Miss Franklina Ajua Yeboah, the University Librarian of WAM, former UDS. Mr. Theophilus Fiaudo, the University Librarian of Jimpa. Sir, you are welcome. Mr. Clote Corte, AAU. You please, Abed, you are very welcome and we are grateful for having you. Madam Valentina, the former University Library of Winneba, University of Education. You are welcome. Prof, your wife was listening to you. Mrs. Akiri.
She's welcome.
Madam, we are happy to have you. And Miss Dr. Margaret Swakulati, the former University Librarian of Forest. Ma'am, please, you are welcome and we thank you for listening. It means that this webinar presentation is very, very important. I mean, people are really getting used to it. And we thank you all for coming. And I pray that anytime we have another webinar, you do well to join. Thank you. Madam Moderator, please, over to you.
Before the moderator comes in, is it possible we can take a group picture? I don't know if Obed can help, so that people can activate their video and we can all take a group picture.
I think Mr. Ajiman.
Yes, Prof. We'll do it as possible. Let's go ahead. So everyone, put your camera on, and then I'm going to put you on full gallery. A good picture. So everyone, please on. Let's do this. All right. Are we set? A short while.
Is he okay?
Oh, let's get ready. All right. So we've got it.
Okay.
All too soon, the seminar has come to an end. The seventh webinar series has come to an end. I must have learned a lot, especially with the aspects Prof said we should take 2 hours within 2 to 3 days to do something academics. I've taken notice of that, and then I'll try to do that. And I know it has been beneficial to most of us all. First of all, I want to thank God for making it possible to let the seminar come to an end successfully. And then we thank Prof for making time for us out of his busy schedules to share with us on the topic, overcoming barriers to academic progress, and then the art of wasting and witchcraft. Thank you all the participants who took part in this seminar. And then we hope our next series too, you make yourself available. Until we meet again, our next webinar series is goodbye for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Prof, Aiko.
Yay, yay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, Prof. Thanks for everything.